Hey, I'm Jeff, and I make music with my brother.
Hi, I'm Jonathan, and I also make music with my brother.
Together, we are Ekko and Sidetrack, and we make music that sounds like this.
And this.
And even this. This podcast is about music, creativity, and everything in between.
Welcome to A Band Apart with Ekko and Sidetrack. Today's podcast is brought to you by our friends at Short Order Burger. When I want a burger, I want it quickly. I don't want to be the guy standing in line getting hangry with a bunch of other hangry people. So I'm going to download the new Short Order ordering app and use it to order and skip the line when I pick up my order today. It's straightforward to use, and by becoming a member, you can actually earn points for every purchase. For every $1 you spend, you'll earn 10 points, which can be used for special offers or in-app credit. And if you're getting weekly burgers, my friends, that could be quite a lucrative amount of points. Go download it in the App Store today and take advantage of it. And as always, don't forget to say the code word Ekko and Sidetrack at checkout in store for 10% off your order. Big up. Welcome back to Ekko and Sidetrack.
Every single time we welcome people back.
And I think it's actually, I think I say that at the end of the intro. I think I say,
Welcome
to A Band Apart with Ekko and Sidetrack.
But then you go into an ad, so we welcome. Nonetheless,
Touche.
Everyone is welcome. Thank you for all the kind words that people have said about the podcast we did with Scott and Josh.
Yes, over at Club Good.
Yeah, if you haven't heard it, it's probably in the link in our socials, or look up Club Good on Instagram.
Or anywhere you listen to podcasts, Spotify, YouTube.
List more.
Spotify. The podcast, Apple Podcast.
Yeah, so we sat down with them for just over 2 hours.
Yeah.
And we talked about our relationship and being brothers, and about some of the things that have served us and haven't served us.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I think it was interesting to go on a podcast because we've done so many. I mean, we've nearly done 100
We're coming up
in
close.
this form of the podcast.
Yeah.
But it was nice to go on someone else's podcast and kind of get asked questions that we might not be asked or might not talk about when it's just me and you.
Yeah, on subjects. Like
Yeah.
Scott asked if we'd ever had a fight, and you can find out if you listen to the podcast.
What a tease.
One of the things that I have considered in the last week or so, as we ramp up, heading towards playing some shows in Europe and traveling for 3 months, get in touch with Ricky at Urban Agency if you'd like to see us in your country, is the concept of fear. And not to sound like some new age person, but I was struck by something recently when I spoke to someone. I can't even remember who it was, about what we were doing. And they're like, oh, do you have this organized? Do you have that organized? And I was like, yeah. Or like, yeah, we'll take it as we go. And like, yeah, that's cool. And we've like booked that. We're the most organized we've ever been.
Yeah.
And we're excited, and we're taking a bunch of stuff, and we've got lots of ideas about things to achieve.
Yeah, well, like by taking a bunch of stuff, you mean taking a bunch of music and be able to still work while we're in the country. Yep.
Yeah. And so this person was kind of asking me these questions, and then they said, I don't think I could do that. And then I realized that any questioning of what I was doing was not based on this person's fear for me. It was based on their own fear of doing the thing. Oh, I could never do that. And that kind of makes sense, considering if you say I'm going to climb Mount Everest, I go, whoa, watch out, because I don't think I could do that. Because I'm fearful for you, but also fearful for the idea that I would do it.
Yeah.
But I wonder how often we stop other people doing things because of our own fear of doing it ourselves.
I think a lot. I think people do. I think that's like modus operandi for a lot of people. I don't know if that's the right term, but I used a couple of Latin terms recently. Carpe diem. And I think I think a lot of people,
Multiple 12.
a lot of people are scared about a variety of things. And
Now there's a broad statement.
and when you are talking about something that could induce fear from another person, like public speaking is one. It is how you understand someone else's fear is you put yourself in their position, even though you're completely different people, and you go, oh, I could never speak at a wedding, or I could never DJ in front of a crowd, or I could never go skydiving or climb Mount Everest.
Yep.
And I think the key is to have a strong enough constitution that when I say, I want to go climb Mount Everest, and you go, fuck that, I would never do that. I go, that's fine, but I'm going to. And not taking on that person's projected fear.
Yeah, because you can collect a bunch of residual fear as you go around, especially as you talk about doing something that people might have experience in, or something that, feels a bit, travel at the moment feels maybe a little bit dangerous, or at least a little bit like out of our comfort zone. And we've all been safe in a nest of Australia for a while.
Yeah.
And now you go, oh, I'm going to travel and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And people go, oh, you're allowed? Is it okay if you checked in it? And you start, as a person that talks about what you're doing, you can collect some of that residual fear. And it is about how do you dissipate that? Because just going, shut up, friend, isn't going to work.
No, but I think you recognize that their fear or their hesitancy, there's obviously something to it, but most likely, it depends on the person, but I can imagine some of the people we're interacting with have a higher fear tolerance.
Yeah.
Maybe if they're in a more comfortable life and not taking risks and
lower fear
tolerance. And I think we probably are more used to taking risks and not really knowing how it's going to work out.
I think we sit somewhere between someone who's very risk adverse and Tom Cruise.
Yeah, that's a big spectrum.
It is.
But I also think that we don't pay that much attention to the goings on in the world that, if you watch the news every day, if you're a person that just watches the 6 o'clock news or the BBC News on some sort of web device, you might have a view of the world at the moment, especially with what's going on in Sri Lanka or what's going on in the Ukraine and Russia and all sorts of stuff. Your worldview, especially if you're from Perth and you've been in the bubble and we've been safe and international travel's only been going on for 2 months, your worldview might be very risk averse. You might be like, I'm just going to stay here. I don't need to go over there.
It's safer to stay in the nest. I've been to Europe. I went in 2010.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. But I think, it's all about how much you want to take on and how much you value that person's fear. If I told you I was going to go to Mount Everest and you said, I wouldn't do that, I would take your fear and be like, he's my brother. He loves me. That I'm going to listen. But if it's some random guy on the street that I'm at the supermarket, I'm just like, I'm going to Mount Everest. And he's like, fuck that. I'd never do that. I'd be like, and that's why you're working at a supermarket.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Maybe that's his fear of getting out has forced him into a...
Or that's his job and he saves up, he's saving up his money to
climb Mount Everest.
Go to the moon or something.
Yeah. An equally fearful
I think
adventure.
Projected fear that I think I've been affected by, and I think everyone is affected by, is fear from their parents. And I guess you can call it not coddling, but if your parents are stressed and oh, where's Jeff? Where is he? What are you doing outside?
Right, helicopter parents.
Yeah, helicopter parents. That can subconsciously and consciously affect you as a kid, and as you grow up, you will be more fearful or worry. I think worry is something that we inherit.
Yeah, that's a good point. Whereas someone who's been able to take risks from a young age, calculated risks and developed an intelligence around it, will have more confidence in that area.
Yeah.
And be able to, because you can't disregard someone else's fear for you.
No.
But you need to be able to pass whether it's their fear being projected onto you and you don't have any of it, or that they're highlighting something that you can't see.
Yeah.
And I think, you've also got to trust who you collect some residual fear from. Yeah,
definitely. Because you need to, that's with anything. That's with advice, life advice. You pick and choose who you're going to take advice from. There's a reason why we don't send demos of our songs to any old person. And we've got a few people we send them to because that's who we value advice from.
If you'd like to receive demos of our songs, get in touch. Not really. We won't send them to you because we do not care what you think. It's like the idea about something that's risky or hazardous. I can't remember what the other word is, but like climbing without ropes is risky and hazardous. Making a calculated investment in cryptocurrency is slightly risky. It's like, but people can look at things being like, all risk is risk. Oh, I would never do that. No. And if you play it safe to some degree, you can miss out on rewards.
Absolutely. And you can calculate your risk to a certain degree. Like the risk we're taking by going to Europe is fairly low.
But the benefit
is high.
And arguably it's not even risky.
No.
I don't think
it's
risky.
Not as... I think as a world, we're just much more aware that things can change quickly than we were pre-COVID.
Yeah.
I think we were more naive.
Absolutely.
Especially in the West, where we live in, compared to the rest of the world, relative safety.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think as well, the risk we're facing is not really there. We have the ability to control our inputs. And we've calculated, whether it's finances or music or any of these things that we're looking to outcome, we've calculated that the benefit far outweighs the potential cost. Like the upside is way bigger than the downside.
Yes.
Whereas some people could view it and say, the fact that there's any downside at all gives me great fear.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're not, it's that fear setting exercise that Tim Ferriss talks about. Like, what am I so afraid of, and what will it take for me to get back to where I am if I do the thing? What do I have? What will it take me to get back to here, this locate place, if I do the thing? And what do I stand to lose? And sometimes when you calculate some of those things, you don't really stand to lose much. You stand to gain a lot. And getting back to where you are is reasonably simple. But you think you're going to lose everything. There's a concept, I think Holly told me about it. Hey, Holly.
Hey, Holly.
That to motivate people, you're better off taking something off them rather than giving them something. So like, I want you to do some job at my factory. And I say, all the times you don't do this, I'm going to dock your pay $30 rather than, and you start with 1,000 rather than, if you do all the work, I'll give you $500.
Yeah.
And apparently when people lose things, there's more at stake.
Yeah, I can see that.
And so I wonder if you create, a bunch of things that you could potentially lose, you could be more fearful rather than just looking at what you're gaining.
I think that
If that
makes a
makes
lot of
sense.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Just something to think about. Food for thought,
Yeah.
gentlemen.
Is that what you wanted to ask me?
Yeah. It came up and I thought about it. It's something I've been pondering. As the podcast has been recently, it's a bit of a quick one because I do have to go off and go home. But is there anything you want to talk about for the last 6 minutes? Last time we had 6 minutes, you brought up Tiananmen Square.
Yes, and I want to talk about
the Arab Spring of 2011.
No, I guess I'm thinking about going to Europe, and the closer that it gets, I'm getting more and more excited.
Yeah, I am too.
I get a mixture of excitement and a mixture of fear
and anxiety,
and it ebbs and flows between all those things. And I worry sometimes that of trying to control the scenario. And I'm trying to practice not worrying at all about the outcome of anything. I'm currently seeing someone in London, and we're going to...
Through a vision?
Through a vision. Telepathically, I have a relationship. And I'm going to find out if that's a relationship that's going to be viable.
Fruitful.
Yeah, as it has been in our digital tete-a-tete, back and forth. Tete-a-tete's not a word.
Yes, it is.
But that's an element that I'm really excited for. But then occasionally times we talk about, the moment we're going to see each other. And I'm like, I get excited and butterflies.
What do you stand to lose?
But what do I stand to lose? Exactly. Nothing. Really.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work out, I've gained a great friend, and I've gained a year of wonderful, insightful, meaningful conversations.
Exactly.
But if it works, I've got so much to gain.
There's so much upside. Yeah, so to be worried is like, it's almost like you're worried about one thing, but you should be excited about 100 things.
Exactly. And
as humans, I think we definitely err on the, I'm fucking concerned. It's like we remember the negative more than the positive.
Yeah. And I think it is my challenge. The challenge I have is if this, then that. And I need to stop trying to think 10 steps ahead.
You can't 3D chess things.
No.
There's like that.
I need to be in the moment and react to things in the moment.
There's that temptation to go, okay, so it's like planning for an argument.
Yeah.
I'll say this, then they'll say that because I know they always say that, and then I've got to come back for that.
Yeah.
And when they say that, and then they'll respond with this because that's what they did.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to do this. And all of a sudden you say something, the person says something completely different, and you go, I'm not prepared. The truth is you don't really have to prepare. You should be approaching it in the moment. Otherwise you're, living, sometimes you're living 10 seconds ahead, which is how you lose a pair of fucking headphones one day after you've worn them. Because you put them somewhere strange in the house. I will find you, son of bitches. But sometimes you're living 10 minutes, 10 hours, 10 days ahead, and you're just not even where you are. So you're already thinking about you're already worried about the first time you have a fight before you've even spent time together.
Yeah.
Or you're already worried that the person's going to say X, Y, Z, and you're like, well, if she says X, Y, Z, then I've got to say something.
Yeah.
I've got to put my foot down. It's like, who cares?
Yeah, but your mind, I think it is your mind trying to protect itself.
It's fear. It's fear going.
You have to plan, you have to think about all these things. And I think, I mean, that just adds a whole other dynamic to going back to the UK. But it's also, it's Russia, it's Ukraine, it's seeing friends. It's, am I going to have enough time to see my friends? I was thinking the other day, we're going for 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
And as we were talking about what we're doing.
I just turned off my timer, by the way.
Thanks. We were talking about last week about how our first 2 weeks are looking and the time we're spending in London and then the time we're spending kind of on a holiday. I was doing a little maths and I was like, did you turn off your timer?
I didn't turn off my timer.
I was doing some maths and thinking like, whoa, everyone else is on summer. Everyone else will be working, holidaying, gigging, festivalizing. There might only be 1 or 2 opportunities to see these people. And I'm not, like, we're going back for a long time. But when you start thinking about it, it's not that long. That might only be 2 hangouts with a variety of people. It might only be 1 hangout with someone.
But it also can be as many as we choose.
Exactly.
To plan. And also, something great to remember is as you look at a calendar, it's tempting just to look at the weekends. But being away without having jobs, we can also slot in midweek, as we have done every time we've travelled. And, you know, there's 15, 16 hours in a day.
And go on.
And, you know, with some organisation and a little bit of luck, you can see people more. Remember when we caught up with Max? We went and had a beer with him, then it started pouring with rain. And then we went out for dinner. And that night,
out for dinner?
Yeah, we met up with Rob and then we went out for dinner.
Oh, that's right. We went to the Japanese place.
Yeah, and the night just kind of escalated. And it was lots of fun, but it started by saying, yeah, we'll come meet you for an Arvo beer. That could have only been an hour.
I've had so many.
I'm craving going to the pub in the afternoon, having a pint, and being like, yeah, where are we going to go? What are we going to do? The opportunities and the, what's the word? No opportunities. They're boundless. Whatever they are, whatever the word is. This is great podcasting.
Yeah, okay. The beer, like the afternoon beer.
In the sun,
and we go have it with Max, and we're in the afternoon. We have a second beer, and then Luke messages us and is like, "Oh, you guys still at that pub?" I'm like, "Yeah." And for some reason, Seb's free as well. And then 2 hours later, there's like 7 people.
I mean,
haven't fucking seen in so long.
Yeah.
We're all standing around and just drinking and like, let's go. And then we go back to someone's house and we get some beers from an off license and like, well,
and someone
Spanish wine.
Someone cooks a roast chicken.
Oh man!
And all of a sudden, like lots of like other friends there.
The possibilities
meet everyone.
are endless.
It's the possibilities. That's the word I was looking for. It's an exciting time, and to get excited is a great thing. And sometimes I think, me personally, I err on the side of caution about getting excited for things, especially over the last few years. But I'd like to publicly say I am fucking excited, and I am all the things that come along with it. But I believe we're on the right path, we're on the right track, and I personally can't wait to get to the other side of the world and do what we do best.
Here.
Which is podcast. If you did enjoy this podcast, please like and subscribe.
We should actually do a podcast. I mean, we're going to keep the podcast going.
Podcast from the sky.
But we should,
Skycast?
No, I wanted to talk to you about doing a live podcast somewhere.
We could do a live podcast. I'd love to do that.
News on that coming later.
Yeah.
It's just an idea I've had right now and never before.
Yeah, we've got some things coming up. We're really excited to play both Rampage and Liquidity. They're the festivals. Hopefully there's some more club shows coming, and we are heading down to Bournemouth at the end of June.
That's the first show.
Yeah, and anytime in between, reach out on socials and say what's up. We love to hear from podcast listeners or just fans of our music. Or even if you're not a fan of our music and you just stumbled across our Instagram and like the way Jonathan's moustache looks.
It's always nice to
get in touch.
It's nice when people give you compliments. Again, general statements.
Ekko and Sidetrack make sweeping, broad statements. People are nice, except when they're not. I can't wait to have fun with friends.
I can't wait to have fun with friends too and laugh freely and be that, man, there's so many people we're going to see and so many new faces and new experiences that
You are 10 days ahead of yourself. You are currently, I can see it in your eyes. You're way off.
I am.
You're at Uniqlo in...
That's really what I need. Even though there's a Uniqlo here, I need to go to the shortage Uniqlo.
You'll be there soon enough. Buddy, I love you.
I love you too.
I've got to hit the Rodrigo. I will I'll chat to you soon. I'll see you tomorrow.
See you, buddy.
We love you too. Thanks for listening.
Bye, guys. Thanks for listening to this week's podcast. We are Ekko and Sidetrack on all social media. We've recently updated our YouTube. Go and give that a subscribe so you can keep up to date with all the latest video podcasts. And follow us on Spotify too so you can keep up to date with all our latest music releases. Big up.